Hello, everybody! It's not right, man. It's not right. Hello, everyone! Yes, I got it right in the end. So, 2021, we're here, right? We're here. It is a brand new year. So, first video of this year. And it's a very special video to start off this year, as it's the very first time that anybody has ever allowed me to premiere one of their plugins. And not only is it a plugin developer, it's Tim Petherick, right? Tim Petherick, I have called him the compressor plugin master certain times because I have certain videos. So there's an Opto 32, which is an LA2A and an LA3A, and there is an L-Bus version 2. Now the Opto is an LA2A, LA3A, and the L-Bus is an SSL G-Bus comp. And honestly, in the shootouts that I've done, I do suggest you watch them. I actually prefer TimP's comps to the hardware, genuinely, and a lot of people agree with me. He does it absolutely right. So yes, I'm very privileged that Tim decided to get in touch with me and gave me the chance to kind of check this out before he released it. We have the updated version of the Vari Level, which is based off a retro star level, and the retro star level is basically a hardware recreation of the legendary Gates star level, which is an all-tube compressor. Okay, and we're going to be doing a shootout against Arturia, those French developers. I actually own the Arturia star level. I bought it at the start of this year. So they're really the only two manufacturers that I know do star levels. So I was like, right, okay, 1 versus 1, okay. Algo versus convolution sampling. Okay, so in terms of the way that the Arturia star level is set out, okay, so you've got an input and an output, right? Your input is dictating your amount of gain reduction, and then you've got 3 different modes, right? You've got a single, a double, and a triple, right? First thing you need to know is that in the unit, no matter kind of what you do, it's still always going to be quite a slow release time, okay? In single, it's going to be a slow attack with a very, very, very slow release. And in dual mode, Arturia call it like a compromise, okay? So again, it's slightly faster. And then in the triple, it's even faster. So it's the fastest attack that you can get in the unit, and it's the fastest release that you can get in the unit, but in general form, it's still quite a slow release. It's just the fastest release that you can get in that unit. And then from there, you've got a recovery, okay? And then the recovery is almost kind of like, if you think about like the hold function in an RS-124. It's basically a recovery, so it's kind of the time that it takes for the compression to go back to 0. So again, if you've got a fast recovery, then your kind of compressor's going to do this. And again, as soon as it compresses, it's going to want to go back down to 0 again. Where if you use a slow recovery, then again, if you're say compressing 10 dB, you might find that it's constantly like 7 to 10, 7 to 10, 7 to 10, 7 to 10. That's just the way it is. It's slower, right? Faster recovery, it's kind of going to do that. A slow recovery is kind of going to be like that. Simple as that, right? And then in terms of both, they've both got high pass filter options, which the hardware doesn't, but I always like to use them. So the Arturia is giving you an EQ section, it's giving you a dual mode mid-side and stereo. Dual mode is basically compressing left and right separately, okay, which again is quite handy to have in stereo. And it's got an additional kind of EQ boost thing as well that I'm not going to use, because the hardware definitely doesn't have that, the TimP doesn't have it, and it's just going to confuse things, okay? So that's the Arturia. And then in terms of the TimP Vari Level, you have got 3 different kind of modes, okay? And you have to use them all if you want to get this under the hardware. So you've got a compressor, okay? Of course you're going to need a compressor. And then you've got a clipper, and then you've got a pre. Now the pre is not like a normal pre. The pre is what Tim calls a post amp, okay? But he calls it a pre because it's got linear frequency response in it, okay? So it's not necessarily a pre, but in terms of the order that Tim said he thinks it should be in, it should be comp, clipper, and pre. Your pre should be the end. So in nearly every instance, I'm kind of mixing them about. I've got the pre at the beginning, I've got the pre at the end, I've got the clipper in the middle, and I've got the clipper at the start. I'm mixing them all about, and that's the genuine bonus of Tim's plugins, is that he samples every part of the hardware and then allows you to choose, almost kind of building a Frankenstein kind of unit, which is really, really, really cool. He's given you so many options, which is fantastic. Okay, so first, I'm sorry, it was long, but it's not my plugin, okay? So I've got to try and explain as much as I can. So, right, first off, let's look into bass, okay, so bass guitar. So I'm going to be, what I want to do in this example is I want to show you the most saturation that I can get out of these units, okay. So in terms of the Arturia, I've got that set up at triple, because that's where again you're going to get the most saturation and the most distortion. Remember, when you're using compressors, if you want the compressor to distort or saturate more, you're best to use it in its fastest setting. That's really where you're going to get kind of the most saturation, okay. So in terms of setting, I've got it at triple, same with TimP triple. Again, I've matched the settings as close as physically possible. So it's compressing 10 dB gain reduction. In terms of the recovery, I've got the recovery in a slower setting. I kind of don't want it to be like that. I just kind of want it to be kind of compressing all the time and really just kind of leveling out that bass guitar. High pass filter I'm using, so again I've got that around 50 Hertz in both, just kind of like more of that kind of low end sub in, so that's not getting compressed. The output is completely cranked. It's kind of the most saturation that I could get kind of out this unit with it still sounding pretty good. And then in terms of the TimP, I've got two examples. So I've got one where it's kind of in a moderate kind of setting. So it's kind of just like the clippers, just kind of, I was trying to kind of emulate what the Arturia was doing. And then I've got another one, which I can't wait for you to hear, where I'm just kind of ripping the arse out of the clipper and I'm just like cranking it and just getting this lovely, amazing distortion, saturation. It sounds so cool. So again, you are going to have like the TimP moderate kind of clipping, kind of trying to kind of copy the Arturia, and then kind of hitting it a little bit harder. The one in the moderate setting is doing 10 dB gain reduction, and the one with the clipper is kind of just absolutely cranked. I've actually got that compressing 5 to 7 dB gain reduction, because again I want to show you that the benefits of being able to split the unit, so you can like distort the hell out of it, but again only be compressing the dynamics so much, right? So let's get into it and let's see how that sounds. Now, how amazing does that, the clippers and the like, absolutely cranked. It is so cool. A lot of acustica plugins struggle to get that kind of, that unbelievable distortion saturation, and Tim just like, mwah, the first chef kiss of 2021. It sounds amazing. It sounds so good. It sounds so cool, man. It's so cool. In a moderate setting, I actually prefer the Arturia. And it's two different forms of saturation. The Arturia is darker, okay? That's something that I need to tell you. In terms of linear frequency response, it kind of does that, right? It's like, has like a high roll off and a low roll off, and it's kind of just like that. And it's very smooth. I don't know why Arturia's got that frequency response, that kind of roll off. Again, it might be, I don't know, something to do with impedance or something like that, or whichever way that they kind of like do the algorithms or whatever. I don't know, man. I don't know, but they're just not the same. So they're going to sound different. But that low end saturation for me, I actually do prefer the Arturia. I really do. The Arturia sounds like it's kind of came all from the same unit. It's kind of all glued together, and it's way more rounded. It's definitely rounded. It doesn't stand out as much as Tim's, but it's more rounded. But that's the most saturation that you could really get out of that unit. Again, like output are absolutely cranked, and again you're hitting it like again 10 dB. You know what I mean? Again in triple mode as well. you're hitting it pretty hard. Tim and Arturias are two different things. They're just two different plugins at the end of the day. I think compressor action, they're probably quite close, but yeah, Tim's like distortion is unbelievable. It's brilliant. So let's kind of focus a little bit more on transient. So let's do a drum bus. So in terms of the drum bus, this time I'm using the dual mode, okay? I'm using that compromise, as Arturia call it. So I've got it in dual mode, and I've got it at its fastest recovery. Because I just want that, I want that needle to be doing that. I just want it to kind of be catching the peaks. And just kind of, just like that. I just want it 1 dB gain reduction, okay, that's all it's doing. High pass, I think they're roughly around 120. I think I had it set first in the Arturia around 90 Hz in the high pass detection filter, but I actually found that the kick was coming a little bit more out, hitting at about 120 Hz. I'm pretty sure that's how I've got it set. Again, 1 dB gain reduction, that's all it needs, right, it's all it needs. So that's how the Arturia is set up. And then in terms of Tim's, I'm trying to think. So the way I had Tim's set up was pre-first, which is, again, he tells you not to do it, but it's like, I found this, Tim told me this after I'd already done the drums, and he's like, yeah, Paul, the pre should be the end, and I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it, Tim, I'm just not doing it. I like the drums too much, right? So, the pre's at the start, then I've got the clipper, then I've got the compressor, okay? So on the bass, I had it clipper, compressor, pre. On the drums, I've got pre, clipper, compressor. And in terms of the clipper, I've got the clipper hitting a little bit harder. I think the way I've kind of got the clipper is kind of, it's just going into the amber, kind of going just from green to amber. So I'm kind of hitting the clipper a little bit, and you're kind of going to hear why it did that, because just listen to this, okay? So this is drums. I've got the dry in as well, so it's dry, Arturia, TimP, 1 dB gain reduction, double, right, I was going to say triple, double, with a fast recovery. Let's do it. Okay, so drums. For me personally, the TimP is the standout winner here. That snare and the transient is just, see that clipper, honestly that clipper just does some amazing stuff. The snare is just da 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 da. It's really, it's not kind of ducking it, it's enhancing it. Again, the low end's really nice as well. With the star level, what a lot of people say is that you do get a little bit of a bass bump, which again, Tim's got that 20, which you really shouldn't really hear, but you do get a little bit of a bass bump. It's not too big, it's just a nice kind of subtle kind of little bass bump in there. The Arturia still sounds good. I think what I can hear is that you get more of the room in the Arturia, which kind of gets a little bit sucked out in Tim's, but again I kind of feel like you're getting more of the transients, and to me in a record, that the drums of the Vari level, the TimPs, is just going to stand out because it's ta, 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 ta. It's just, honestly, it's just really coming out the speakers to me, and it's 1 dB gain reduction. That to me is a sign of a high quality compressor, that even at 1 dB gain reduction, it's giving you something. But the Arturia still sounds good. Really nice low end, and again, really nice liveliness to the snare, and I just kind of feel like the room is coming out a little bit more, nice saturation, and it's doing a really, really good job. It's a really, really, really good compressor. It's just that Tim's just, in an overall mix, it's just boom, it's just coming at you a little bit more. So you can call it 3D, you can call it depth, call it whatever you want, but to me, the transients are just brilliant in Tim's, and to me it's a stone cold winner for me. That might not be your thing, and you might prefer the sta level. The two of them are still doing very, 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 very good things. Right, okay, so that's drums. Let's move on to vocals. Now, in terms of vocals, I've read a lot that many engineers have used the sta level, gates and retro for smoothing out vocals. Now, if you use the recovery and you have it set all the way to max, right? You just max out the recovery, have that recovery really, really, really slow. It's going to really, really smooth out the vocals because it's always compressing. So it's 5 to 7 dB gain reduction, okay? And again, you'll normally find it is genuinely 5 to 7. It's normally not going under. I think at one point it maybe goes to 3, but it's normally like 5 to 7, and it's just like that, slow. But it's not like that. We've got single mode on, okay, got the single mode, which again is the slowest attack in a very, very, very slow release. Okay, so it's kind of as slow as you can set it. In terms of the high pass detector, I think I've got that around, I'm pretty sure it was like 240, 250 hertz. I just kind of, kept kind of all that low end. I have got the pre at the end, so I have got clipper, compressor, pre. What you need to know is that in terms of the harmonics, okay, in terms of the pre and the harmonics in the compressor, you're meant to kind of keep them 0, right? You shouldn't really need to touch those, because Tim says at 0, that's the hardware, that's the sampled hardware, is them at 0. So you should generally just have to put the pre on and not touch it. But again, Tim being Tim, he allows you to take them out, add more in, and change the linear frequency response as well and stuff like that. So it's really, really cool. It's really, really cool the amount of stuff you can do with this. But I kept them flat, okay? I kept them very, very, very flat. And then from there, in the TimP, I've got the clipper just a little bit. Again, I'm just touching the clipper. But yeah, right, that's basically it set. 5 to 7, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, 5 to 7 dB gain reduction at its slowest setting. And I've got the dry vocal in as well, so I want you to hear the smoothing out effect of the sta level.
He walks away, the sun goes down, he takes the day, but I'm grown, and in your grey, in this blue shade, my tears dry on their own. He walks away, the sun goes down, he takes the day, but I'm grown, and in your grey, in this blue shade, my tears dry on their own. He walks away, the sun goes down, he takes the day, but I'm grown, and in your grey, in this blue shade, my tears dry on their own. He walks away, the sun goes down, he takes the day, but I'm grown, and in your grey, in this blue shade, my tears dry on their own. He walks away, the sun goes down, he takes the day, but I'm grown, and in your grey, in this blue shade, my tears dry on their own. He walks away, the sun goes down, he takes the day, but I'm grown, and in your grey, in this blue shade, my tears dry on their own. He walks away, the sun goes down, he takes the day, but I'm grown, and in your grey, in this blue shade, my tears dry on their own. He walks away, the sun goes down, he takes the day, but I'm grown, and in your grey, in this blue shade, my tears dry on their own. He walks away, the sun goes down, he takes the day, but I'm grown, and in your grey, in this blue shade, my tears dry on their own.
Right, okay, so in the blind test, I picked out the TimP quite comfortably. Now, for me, again, Arturia still does a great job, right? Let's get this straight right now. every time I kind of do this, and I'm kind of saying I prefer Tim, right? Again, I didn't do it in the bass, but in the drums I preferred it, and in the vocals I preferred it. The Arturia is still doing a great job. It's still a great sounding compressor, honestly, right? It's a great sounding compressor. However, there was a reason why I stopped using it and I replaced it with MJUC, because I kind of felt that the Arturia doesn't come out of you as much, where I get that in Tim's. Is it the linear frequency response, or is it the clipper? I think it's personally the clipper. It's not as clean as the TimP. When I say clean, like Tim's is a little bit more clearer, which kind of makes it come out a little bit more. So it has a little bit more depth to me, and it sounds smoother to me. I think it just sounds better, right? That's all I kind of say to you. It's a hard one for me to explain. The Arturia still sounds great, right? It's still an amazing sounding comp. It's just that Tim sounds better. Like in the drums, it's coming out at you a little bit more. You've got a little bit more transient, and overall I feel like it's more consistent. There's little bits of the Arturia where I kind of feel I can hear the vocal dipping a little bit, where it's completely smooth in Tim's. It's just completely rock solid, just like all the way throughout. It's right in front of you, and it keeps that consistency all the way through. I feel it's cleaner, still got a nice little bit of harmonics and grit in there, but it just overall sounds clearer and better, in my opinion, okay, in my opinion. But Arturia's still doing a great job. So, in vocals, it wins out for me, okay? Again, and I could pick it out like every time. So, let's go into mix bus. So again, it's only going to be doing 1 dB, right? Let's be realistic, right? That's not the way I use mix bus compressors, right? A little bit of glue. I want to hear a little bit of glue, and I want to add a little bit more of excitement. So in terms of the way I've got this set up, the Arturia, I've kind of got it in kind of a mid-fast recovery. And then, what else have I got? I've got the high-pass filter detector at around 90 Hertz. Is that right? Yeah, it's at 90 Hertz. And on the Arturia, I've got it in the dual mode. So it'll be the first time that on the drums I didn't use the dual mode, because I thought the stereo sounded better. But in the mix, on the mix bus, I have actually used the dual mode, so the left and right are being compressed separately. I just kind of thought it sounded better. So you are going to actually get to hear what the Arturia sounds like in the dual mode. TimP doesn't have that. Okay, so that's Arturia. In terms of the TimP, in terms of a mix bus, I have got it set to compressor, clipper, and then pre at the end, right? I know I just did it, right? So I know that's what it is, okay? Again, high pass filter set to around 90 Hertz, exact same settings as Arturia. And then in terms of the clipper, I was just riding the clipper to the point when I kind of felt that the transient of the track was kind of coming out a little bit more, and it was just kind of doing what it did in drums, and I was just kind of breathing that bit of life into it, and it was just kind of coming out a little bit more 3D, a little bit more depth, 1 dB kind of gain reduction. Again, I don't really want the recovery to be kind of completely, totally fast, just like that. Okay, that's the way I've got it set. So that's going to be the last test for this video. So let's go mix bus. So let's go Arturia, let's go TimP Vari Level, 1 dB gain reduction. Let's do it. You can feel it underneath. Be the one you want to be, living out your fantasy. Come on down, yeah. Underground, yes I am. Come on, baby. Deeper, 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 deeper. Underground. You can feel it underneath. Be the one you want to be, living out your fantasy. You don't know what you might see. Okay, now that one was pretty cool to be honest. I like what the both of them are doing. Again, it seems to be a thing in the shootout that I like. I like both plugins for different reasons. I think in the end, if I was to pick one, it would be the TimP. It would be the TimP, because to me, what I'm kind of getting is a tighter mix. There's more depth, 100%. There's more depth to it. Where I think the Arturia, now using it in dual mode is really cool. See how it like compressing the left and the rights? I actually feel like it wraps around you a little bit more, and I actually feel like it's giving you a little bit more width, which is really cool. But the low end is way tighter in the TimP. The TimP is just a little bit more narrow to me, and that kick in that low end is just, it's just tighter. And everything's coming at you a little bit more, just a little bit more. The Arturia does a great job of the transients, it has to be said. And for a plugin that's just kind of quickly set dial, it does a really great job on the mix box. It sounds really nice. But I think that all the extra functionality of the TimP, and again I could have kind of rechained it and had it set up differently, but had it set the way Tim said it probably advised it should be set, and I just felt that every option just allowed me to take that mix and just give it a little bit more. So to kind of sum up, I would say that the Arturia is doing a stellar job. It does create a better mix, it's a great little compressor, but the added functionality of the TimP to me is giving me kind of more what I would expect to do in mastering, and just bringing out the transients more and making a tighter record and kind of just like gluing everything together. I do feel like you lose a little bit of width, but again maybe that's the dual mode in the Arturia, but I would say that I prefer the TimP, but you might disagree, so let me know in the comments down below, which is why I do these shootouts. And again, if you do prefer the Arturia, then perfect. I'll give you two great options, but again, two of them do different things. They sound different, which is great for me, because again, I own two of them. So there you go. So remember guys, please like this video because it'll be good for Tim, because it'll help push this video out, and I need more people to find out about these manufacturers, right? I'm going to dive more into Nebula, right? So there is going to be videos on like Alex B EQs and comps and Tim Cutwise and stuff, and smaller plugin developers, right? I've got a list as long as my arm, and I'm going to try and implement them into other shootouts with bigger names and stuff. So I do plan on bringing like the spectrum of audio plugins to your door, okay? So please leave comments down below, because I know Tim will be looking at the comments. Please be nice, okay? Don't be nasty, right? I really appreciate it if you like this video. It'll help Tim out, it'll help push the video out, and it'll help me out as well. And again, subscribe if you've not subscribed, guys. There's an entire playlist, and I just got over 1,500 subscribers this week. Yeah, baby, under a year, right? Under a year. It's unbelievable, right? These are beautiful people. So thank you very much, guys. Like this video, subscribe, whatever. I'm just going to keep on doing this till you like this video. But yes, next week, right, 2 videos for you. Another video probably today or tomorrow. So TimP Vari Level, like it, buy it. Let me know what you think down below. See you next Wednesday. Cheers.